Good morning, student. Today we are going to read class 7th SST History, chapter number 10, New Political Formation, part 1. So, student, in this video we'll learn about the Mughal Empire, basically the later Mughals, and what happens after the death of Aurangzeb that we had read in the previous chapters number 4. So, in this chapter, in this video, learn about how the power disintegrate during the rule of during the reign after the Aurangzeb. Let us see the topic in this video, as well as we'll also read in this chapter how the regional powers such as Rajput, Sikh, Marathas, they emerged, and many of the regional state they declared themselves as an independent state, not following the Mughal rules. So in this, let us begin with the topic. First of all, the reason, some basic reason, what is the fall, what is the reason for fall of Mughal Empire? The first reason is that the reliable on powerful nobles and mansabdar who asserted more power. So it was the time when Mughal emperors, the several Mughal emperors from Akbar to the Aurangzeb, they all appointed several nobles and mansabdar for their work of convenience. They provided them several power so that they can easily help them to rule the whole empire. So these nobles have the same power or the same authority after the death of the Aurangzeb as well. But the whole empire get disintegrate, and the power which they had with them, these nobles and mansabdars, they started enjoying it as an independent state. What they get the mansabdari or the area under their rule. They uh, they also, these nobles also have the exploitative land revenue extraction, means that they started extracting the land revenue from the farmers and peasants recklessly, means they started uh, they started extracting the revenue not on the basis of fertility and other things that was introduced by the Akbar and the other later Mughals, but they started extracting, or they started exploiting the peasants. This was the another reason of the decline of the Mughal Empire. The next point, that is the lack of clear policy of succession, means that it is not decided who will be the next ruler or who will be the next Mughal emperor after the death of the Aurangzeb. Plus, the whosoever the Mughal emperor is set on the throne, they all were not relied, they all were not uh, capable to hold the strength of the whole empire. Also, they were not able to secure the northwest frontier. Northwest frontier means the area which is nowadays Pakistan and Afghanistan and Punjab. So those areas were the only area from where the many of the invaders they entered in India. They invade on India, that you have already read in the previous chapters. So this base, or we can say this area or this frontier, was not secured by these later Mughals. So that led to the entrance of the other invaders. They entered India and they also plundered the India again. So we'll read the who came in India in the same video. Now, earlier these people, means by appointing the mansabdar, by giving them the power to collection of the tax, also by the land revenue and the clear policy of succession, means who will be the next ruler. Plus, they secured the northwest frontier. So only these are the basic things that makes the Mughal Empire strengthen do before the Aurangzeb and the reign of Aurangzeb as well. But after the death of Aurangzeb, none of them is capable. here is a hierarchy from the after the Aurangzeb. Who were there after the death of the Aurangzeb? Let us see. The first ruler after the Aurangzeb was Bahadur Shah first. He was there for 707 to 1712, and he was the prince. His name was Prince Mujam, and Mujam, who sat on throne with the title of Bahadur Shah I. So when he sat on the throne, he took the title of Bahadur Shah I. He tried to reverse the orthodox policy of his father Aurangzeb. Okay, you have already read that Aurangzeb was so orthodox in the sense he believed in his own uh, Islamic law, or we can say the Islamic rules. Basically, he did not accept the other religions. So his religious policy was so strict, and Aurangzeb forced many of the rulers, many of the people to convert themselves into the Islam religion. But many of them are get angered through it. Many Rajputs and Sikh and other communities get angered with this decision of the policy of the Aurangzeb. So what the step is took by the Aurangzeb, the Bahadur Shah first wanted to remove all those things, and he wanted to try to have the friendly relation with Sikh and Marathas. So the main opponent, the main enemy of the Mughal Empire were the Maratha and Sikh and the Rajput as well. So they wanted to so Bahadur Shah first wanted to have the friendly relation with them so that he can be protected by themselves. But his reign was very short. He died in 1217. The next ruler who came after him was Jahandar Shah. Jahandar Shah, he was there for 1712 to 1713. It's very limited year. It's 1 year period. There he was succeeded by his son Bahadur Shah was succeeded by his son Jahandar Shah. He married a dancing girl who became his queen. He was attacked and killed by his nephew and son-in-law Farrukhsiyar. So his nephew and son-in-law both are same. His name was Farrukhsiyar. He killed himself. Uh, he killed Jahandar Shah and got the throne. Next, the ruler came after Jahandar Shah was the Farrukhsiyar. Farrukhsiyar was there for 1713 to 1719, and he became the king of Mughal kingdom with the help of Sayyid brothers. Now, here the Sayyid brothers are two people named Sayyid Abdullah Khan Barha and Sayyid Hussain Ali Khan Barha. So these two are the Sayyid brothers, those who were the nobles during the Aurangzeb period, but after the Aurangzeb death, they become the most prominent or the most effective people in the Mughal Empire. So they become the kingmakers. Kingmakers means that they have the right to appoint the emperor also, and they have right to remove the emperor also. So these two Sayyid brothers, they have the whole power on the Mughal Empire. So Sayyid brothers only, these Sayyid Abdullah Khan and Sayyid Hassan Ali, they appointed the Farrukhsiyar, and with the help of them only Farrukhsiyar killed his own father-in-law or his own uncle Jahandar Shah, and he sat on the throne. Farrukhsiyar behaved like a mere puppet in the hand of Sayyid brothers. When he resisted their control on him, he was disposed and executed by letter. See, the next was that when Farrukhsiyar got the throne, sat on the throne, so he wanted to free himself from the Sayyid brothers' hand. But when Sayyid brother get to know that Farrukhsiyar wanted to free from them, so they dethrone him. They asked them to they remove Farrukhsiyar from the throne, and after some time they killed the Farrukhsiyar. The next one is the next ruler came after Farrukhsiyar was the Rafi ud Darazat. He was only for 1 year, 1719, and he sat on the throne with the help of Sayyid brother again. But he could not rule. Rule only for 4 months, and he died some of the unknown disease. So the next ruler of the Mughal Empire was the Rafi ud Darazat. He was only for their 4 months. The next ruler sat on the throne was Muhammad Shah Rangile, and He sat on the throne, and this was the time he also known as Muhammad Shah. He during his reign only, Nadir Shah attacked. Who was Nadir Shah? Yeah, who was Nadir Shah? He was a invader. He was a Turkish invader who came. Who sorry, he was a Iranian invader, or we can say Persian invader, who came India and invade during the reign of Muhammad Shah. The reason was that the whole ruler or the whole empire is facing the weakness, or we can say they all get weakened by their from their power. Many of the areas were disintegrated. Many of the areas were get disintegrated. The nobles have started. The nobles have started ruling their areas, or the mansabdaris areas, independently. They did not pay the tax. They did not allow. They did not pay the tax, so that the army cannot be maintained by the Mughal empire emperor. So during the rule of reign of Muhammad Shah, Nadir Shah attacked and plundered Delhi, and he took Peacock throne with himself, as well as Kohinoor diamond. So Nadir Shah took various things along with him, and he uh, he plundered Delhi fully. Also, he killed several people. He looted all the temples. He looted much more money. Various things he looted from the India during the rule of Muhammad Shah. So all this makes the area. All this makes the Mughal Empire very weak. The next ruler was after the Farrukhsiyar was the Muhammad Shah, Ahmad Shah Bahadur, Alamgir second, Shah Alam second, Akbar second, Bahadur Shah second. So after the Bahadur Shah, like lastly 1857 or 58, he was get dethroned, and later on he sent to the Burma, Yangon. There he was in 1862. He get died. Okay, now as the consequences of Nadir Shah attack, Mughal Empire disintegrated fast, and independent kingdom of Bengal, Awadh, Hyderabad broke away from the empire. So when Nadir Shah attacked, he know very well that the India is full of rich and money is there in India, but there is no appropriate ruler. So this give him opportunity to rule, to attack on India, and because of that only he took several money. There was no proper ruler to defend the Mughal Empire. So because of that only he looted a lot of things. This gives the opportunity to the many nobles and mansabdars to rule, to freed from themselves to the Mughal Empire, like Bengal, Awadh, Hyderabad. They all left the Mughal Empire. Okay, you have already seen after the death, after the Muhammad Shah, Ahmad Shah Bahadur, Alamgir second, Shah Alam, Akbar second, and Bahadur Shah. They ruled. They all, you can see, as you can see, their time period is very short. The reason is that they all were just uh, the ruler without any money, without any army. Their power is getting less day by day. Their empty, or the treasure is getting, their treasury is also getting empty. There were no effective rules and regulation, and all the areas which was covered, which was annexed by the Aurangzeb, all those areas is getting disintegrated. The all the rulers, they freed themselves from the Mughal Empire, and they enjoying the independence right. The three pillars of the Mughal state were land revenue, law and order, and military administration, quietly passed into the hand of the powerful nobles. As I said, there were no powerful rulers, so all they had, uh, these nobles have the all power to rule the whole areas, or we can say the areas which is they get as a as to take care, or the Mansabdari system. Sayyid brother Hussain Ali and Abdullah, when who held the post of Wazir, and Mir Bakshi became powerful, were known as the kingmaker. So gradually and slowly, these two people, they had grown during the reign of after the death of Aurangzeb. these two people, till till they the time which they lived, they have the whole right to rule the Mughal Empire. Means only in the only the emperor is set on the throne, but rest of the power is with the hand in the hand of the Sayyid brothers. So during the reign of Muhammad Shah in 1739, Nadir Shah plundered Delhi. Let us see who was Nadir Shah and why did he plundered the Delhi. Nadir Shah ruled as a Shah of Persia and one was one of the most powerful ruler in Iranian history. Because of his military genius and evidences in numerous and martial encounters in many wars, some historians have described him as a Napoleon of Persia or second Alexander. So Nadir Shah was so much like he was a brave person basically. If it says according to the Nadir Shah, he was a brave fighter, he was a brave warrior, and he he wanted to capture the most more area as he can, like the Alexander did. So because of that only he was known as the second Alexander, and also known as a many historian tell him many historian refer him as a Napoleon of Persia. Napoleon of Persia means Napoleon is a autocratic ruler in the France, and he also rule as a ruler, but and he conquered a lot of area that you will read in class 9 about the Napoleon. So was known as he was also known as Napoleon of Persia as well as second Alexander, because Nadir Shah conquered a lot of things. Nadir Shah was a member of Turkic Ashfar tribe. He belongs to the Ashfar tribe and of the northern Persia, which had supplied military power to the Safavid state since the time of Shah Ismail I. Okay, he belongs to the Asfar tribe, and this tribe provide the military to the ruler of the Safavid dynasty. So he was also part of military, and after some time he became a ruler of there by his own power and his own intelligence. The reason why he plundered Delhi, as I told you, that the Mughal empire get disintegrate, all the mansabdars and nobles, they all kept the powers with them, and they have the whole power. They did not paying the taxes and all. So this led to the disintegration of the Mughal empire, and the rulers were very weak. So the Nadir Shah thought that if this is the chance, because many of the Turkic and Persian, they came India, they looted very much booty from here. So he also thought that this is the perfect time to attack on India, and so he attacked and he took lot of money from there along with the peacock throne of Shah Jahan and Kohinoor diamond. During the reign of Shah Alam II, European trading companies also began occupying the territories India. So during the reign of Shah Alam, the European trading companies, they had also got the opportunities to occupy the territories of India, and though they get the trading rights only, they get the trading rights from the several Mughal rulers, but they started misusing their power, and they started conquering the territories of the Mughal Empire. The English East India Company had established fort at the Bombay, Calcutta and Madras. So these are the three major cities of the India during the medieval and ancient period as well. So these areas has become very much important. So in these areas only they had built a fort, so that they can easily trade with the traders, and also that they can rule the Indian subcontinent. To stop the growing power of the English, Shah Alam II formed an alliance with the Mir Qasim, the Nawab of Bengal, and Sujauddaulah, the Nawab of Awadh. Okay, there are two main Nawabs. The one is Mir Qasim, he was a Nawab of Bengal, and Sujauddaulah, he was a Nawab of Awadh. These two people are there, and along with the Shah Alam II, the Mughal emperor, they all get alliance. They all together wanted to fight against the English or the British. The reason is that they all are taking they all are growing in their regions, and also they are interrupting the trade and other things to the Indian rulers. So all these three formed alliances and they fought against the British. But the British have more. British army is more powerful. They have the advanced technologies or the advanced warfare system. So they all defeated by they get defeated by the British in the Battle of Buxar on 22 October 1764. This resulted Mughal alliances lost the Diwani, the revenue collection of the Bihar, Bengal, and Odisha. So when the Nawab of Awadh and Mughal Empire, when they lost the Battle of Buxar, so English or the British took the Diwani of Bihar and Bengal and Odisha. So they do not have right. These three groups, they not have right to collect the revenue from these areas. Those areas were get under the British people. The Battle of Buxar secured the stronger foothold of the for the English in the country while delivering a blow to the prestige of the Mughal Empire. Okay, this was the time. This Battle of Buxar led to the uh, led to the emergence, or we can say led to the British to make their strong foothold in the India. So this gives the chance to conquer more territories. This gives the chance to conquer more territories so that they can have the more revenue right, so that they can collect the more money and the all trade rights that they can have. So this is the time, or this is the main. If we count as a battle of Buxar, this is the first battle, the official battle in which Britishers won the territories of Bihar, Bengal, and Odisha, and later on they captured it and started ruling. The last Mughal emperor was Bahadur Shah Zafar. So Bahadur Shah Zafar was there for up to 1857, but he took the participation in the rebel or revolt against the British. So that is why he dethroned from the Mughal seat, and he was sent to the Rangoon or Yangon for the for in the prison of Yangon and Rangoon, and he was there, and he died after he died in 1862 there only. Why he sent? The reason is that he took part in the revolt of 1857. This topic you will read in class 8 in very explained manner, so you are able to know that how the Bahadur Shah was get dethroned from his seat. His sons were killed by the British in front of the Bahadur Shah Zafar. Though he was very old, he do not have any army, he do not have any money. So this all force him to leave the seat, and he sent to the Rangoon or Yangon. There he died in 1862. Now let us see some of the points related to the decline of the Mughal Empire. So here is a full points that you will easily understand that what are the reasons behind the decline of the Mughal Empire. The first reason is uh, Aurangzeb captured a lot of territories during his rule. So he was unable to hold together the whole India. So this is the first reason. He conquered the whole area. He conquered the most of the Indian subcontinent, but he was not able to rule the whole country. So this is the first where in one time he is somewhere in one time. If he is in South India, so North Indian states started rebelling against him. When he went to the North Indian state, so South Indian state started rebelling against him. So this is the reason, the first reason where he did not able to hold the whole empire what he conquered. His policy of accession led to the depletion of military and financial resources. He spent a lot of money and military in the expedition of Deccan area. He spent a lot of money in that, so his treasury started decline, and the next was the collection of revenue from the province become uneven as the center was unable to control the regularity of the process. After the death of Aurangzeb, the area which were the part of the Mughal Empire, those they have started decline. They had stopped, basically they had stopped giving the taxes to the Mughal Empire. So this led to the proper income. Proper income is getting stopped by not submitting the revenue. But the Mansabdar and nobles, those who took the part, they all have the power, they all have the money, they collected all the money with them and did not give it to the Mughal emperor. So this is the also reason, when money is not there, so army cannot be maintained, and when army cannot be maintained, so definitely the empire will fall. The next one is Aurangzeb's strict political policy. So he adopted the Islamic rule and law. He wanted everybody, he wanted to make the India as Islamic state. So he wanted to convert all of the Indians in Islam religion. So this angered the various non-Muslim peoples like Sikh, Rajput and Jat and the Marathas. So they rose revolt against him. Means they did not wanted to convert themselves into the Islam. So they revolt against them, against the Aurangzeb. So this is the reason of shattering of the Mughal Empire. And the next one is the insufficient successor. After the death of Aurangzeb, there were no proper ruler, so that the ruler can hold the whole empire. And the military and intellectuals, means the nobles and military, they did not also help. And also they do not have the advanced military equipment so that they can fought against the rebellions. So this is the also reason for the decline of the Mughal Empire. Now this topic is over. The next video will learn about the regional powers that is grown during the later Mughals. Means during the later Mughals, they all were become very weak. So this gives the chance to arise the many separate independent kingdoms, and they rule against the Mughal Empire. Thank you, students.